Well, good evening. Hello, everybody. And I am so glad that you showed up tonight. And I am pleased to welcome the amazing Liz Urbina. She is a conscious eating coach, and she is going to be sharing with us some transformational moments and probably share with you some tips that she's found helpful. I really don't know what it's going to be, but um, you're gonna learn a lot if you listen into this interview. So welcome, Liz, and can you share with us where you're from, um, what you do, and who do you serve? Who are your main people that you love to serve?
Hi, Connie. Oh, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here with you to talk about what my passion is. I always love talking to you, and I love what you do as well. So thank you. And hello, everybody. I am Liz Urbina. I am a certified nutrition coach, and I am joining Connie here from Calgary, Canada, and that's in the western side of the country. And what do I do and who do I serve? Well, I support women over 40 to literally to break free from a lifetime of trying to lose weight and stay healthy in a healthy way, and in a healthy and sustainable way. And women who join my programs, they start feeling confident and comfortable in their bodies. They start feeling energized, and they really start moving freely and pain-free. They reduce inflammation in their bodies. And one of the most beautiful things that I see, one of the ripple effects of that, is that they bring their families along, and all of their families, their whole families benefit from not another diet, but from embracing a new way of eating, a way that actually we're supposed to eat, instead of following what the food industry or all of what we see around us is pushing us towards, right? So that's what I do, and I love to do it.
Yes, I love what you said about what the food industry is pushing upon us. It's when looking for someone to help you with your health, and it's really confusing for people to know what is healthy, because you see all these conflicting reports on the internet. And when somebody is going to recommend a supplement or how you should eat, you should really look into who's promoting it. I mean, sometimes it's the food industry, sometimes it's the medical industry. But if they haven't, they're really not promoting health, is what I'm trying to say. They're not promoting health, they're promoting their own interests. So if you can find
Exactly.
someone like Liz, who is not promoting anything except for health, and there's a ton of research on what is health. And if I can bring God into this, anything that God created is going to keep you healthy. Anything he didn't create is probably something, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, is probably something that's not going to help you very much. So
Yeah. Well, I don't necessarily speak about God, but I talk about Mother Nature, what Mother Nature really meant us to fuel our bodies with. And we are just going so far away from it. And that is like literally is destroying our health at a younger age every day, literally. Like, we have now children who are suffering from things like fatty liver or diabetes, and those things used to happen to people, at their older ages. And how the heck is happening to children now? So it's really dramatic what we're living, honestly.
and I feel like your service for women is going to really help children as well, because women are the ones who buy the food. and who guide their children on how to eat. So if women don't know what to tell them, then they're going to have a big struggle when they get to school, and they're pushed into a diet that's I've experienced that at all levels when I see what they're eating, and there's nothing you can do when you're in that kind of a situation. But when you're helping women, you're helping the children. And so I think that's amazing.
Yes, yes. That's actually one of my biggest visions, to help reduce children diabetes, obesity, and fatty liver. So
What I would like to see is kind of off topic, but I do work in my field, not in the feng shui field, but my other passion. I work with the schools, with the children in the schools. I would love to see a garden especially at the middle school and high school level, so they can get interested, because they'll eat what they grew. And they'll be more interested if they have put their hands in the soil, and they see where it comes from, and they feel so peaceful, because that's what happens when you get back connected with Mother Nature. And
yes,
the
yes,
it's the way we were meant to live. So
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
so my next question is about what is your why? What motivates you to do what you do? You kind of talked about it already. Is there any other different direction you want to take it? Because we were talking about diabetes beforehand, and we were talking about diabetes. There's all sorts of inflammatory things that are happening after
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to call it a pandemic. I'm going to call it a worldwide crisis,
Mm-hmm.
because people got really off track during that time, and our wonderful immune system has kind of gotten pushed to the side. And so, is there anything else you would want to add about your calling, what drives you?
Yeah, well, I feel, besides that vision about the children's, like helping reduce obesity and diabetes in children through their mothers, like educating, because we don't get this education anywhere. And that is one of the things I realized myself when I struggled with my own health issues. You see, I feel like there's a lot of talk about research in terms of developing new vaccines, new medications, new drugs, new treatments. And the majority of those treatments and medications and drugs don't really tackle the root cause. They just treat symptoms. And I feel like there's not enough talk about how we can prevent those conditions from happening to begin with, and how we can be proactive about that. And I myself lived a situation when, it was too late for me to take the actions, when I realized that my current circumstance was a consequence of the accumulation of my poor choices. That's when I was like, but nobody was telling me that. I used to go to the doctor, and, oh, your blood tests are good, you're good. Yes, you have, I felt bloated all the time. I was a little bit overweight. My digestion was terrible. My hormones were all over the place. But because I was not going to die from that right away, everything was good. Oh, just go home, take Tylenol when you have a headache, and
That doesn't do
and
anything.
and put this antibiotic cream on your face for the acne, and that didn't solve anything.
Exactly. And the problem is they don't study nutrition in medical school. And I think that's a big problem, because doctors are in a position to make a big difference in the world if they had the right information. And
Yeah.
and they don't have the right information.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
It's
it's just they're trained, they're only trained to prescribe. They're not trained on how to research or how to, find the underlying cause. There are a few doctors who are courageous enough to look beyond that narrow lens that they're put into, because I also wanted to say that it's not your fault, and it's not your women's fault for being like that, because it's not just for choices, it's also what they're pushing on us. How are we
our,
to know? How are we
our
to
environment. Yes. Our environment. We are okay. I want to say a couple of things about that. I agree 100% with what you're saying. I want to, on the doctor's benefit or their defense, I want to say that it's not their fault either. It's just a
no,
systemic problem, right? It's just a system. It's built in that way. And in terms of whose blame is absolutely 100% an environmental issue. Our environment is designed for us to find, those things, to look for those things that are easy, that are craveable, that are we live in this life where we are running all the time, and we want the things that are quick to make, quick fixes, right? We look for the quick fixes, and they are so convenient and cheap also. So it's like really hard. You have to have the level of awareness, and that is one of my purpose, is raising the level of awareness around those things and realizing, hey, there's a choice. We don't have to go for those things, necessarily. And so that's part of my big why too, like just bringing more of that awareness into the world.
how do you think we can make the doctors aware? I mean, I think that's a big question, because it's their income, and like I said, they have to have a big motivation in order to even explore beyond what their medical training took them. I had a doctor when I first moved to Albuquerque who, because I was having some weird symptoms, no regular doctor could, I couldn't even talk about it, because it was, I knew they didn't, I knew they weren't going to have any answers, but there was this neurologist. She was a brain surgeon, and she had a PhD in neurology, or in toxicology, because she wanted to know about what's going on. She was getting patients with kind of weird symptoms. She turns out she was the only doctor in all of Albuquerque who did really extensive tests to find out, because a lot of times they don't test, they don't do the right tests. They do the superficial ones, the ones that are called for. But she did like 20 different tests to figure out, and she found a lot of heavy metals in my body. And I think that's what a lot of people have. So guess what she put me on? Green smoothies.
My favorite thing in the world. You know that. That's what I do, laughing.
I was already doing that, but she also told me, because in New Mexico we have a special problem, and it's because the atomic experiments were, we have white sands because of that big explosion that was here. So even now we still have radioactivity in the water. And so she told me also that to put baking soda and Oh, for bathing, to detox baking soda and Epsom salts to pull the toxins out, to put baking soda in the water when I'm going to wash clothes. And so
Nice.
just to bring down the acidity, because radioactivity is very acidic. And she even had a Geiger counter to measure, like if you brought your water in, she said everybody that's come in anywhere in New Mexico has, they have radioactivity in their water. So
Wow.
it is a big problem because most people don't know about that. And every area, she said, oh, maybe I should move back because I just barely moved to Albuquerque. Maybe I should move to a different place. He goes, no matter where you go, there's going to be some problem with the water. It may be different, but this is what you can do. She said, reverse osmosis water. I've now kind of don't go to Whole Foods anymore for that, but I have different ways that I deal with that because it got really expensive to go there, pay for the water and then the gas and all of that. I just figured out how to do it in my own home, and that's what I do now.
Nice. Yeah, there's so many things that we really most people don't know, right? About what we eat, about the water we drink, about even about the stuff that we put on our skin, right? And all of that, all of those things can contribute to developing, symptoms and diseases in our bodies. And so, yeah.
And it's also a belief system. That's another problem. It's a belief system because it is so contaminated, and there is we are pushed on in so many negative ways that are very unnatural. So there's not a belief. The doctors don't believe that the natural things work. So therefore, most people do not believe that. But I found the opposite to be true. I found that when I shifted to a more natural diet, and I did have to experiment with foods that I was sensitive to. And I do know that the liver, because of that, the liver gets gets toxic and is unable to, I know this was not supposed to be, it's not supposed to be so technical, but I feel like it's really important right now to understand about the liver. The liver is the only organ in the human body that can regenerate. And I just recently went to a conference online where it went into deeper about all the things that are going on in our environment. And one of the their naturopathic doctors and chiropractors and I mean there were 4 doctors that would put it on, and one of them said that that most people are struggling with a liver that's only functioning at about 30%. 30%. And yet it can all be regenerated by giving it what it needs, and then probably doing a liver cleanse, because if you don't do a liver cleanse, it's going to be tough if with that kind of odds. And I think that's one of the reasons why sometimes the supposedly natural things don't work, is because they haven't cleansed the liver first. The liver is really, really struggling. And so it's fighting for your life, because that's what it is. It's fighting for your life to make you as healthy as possible, but it's not given any of the support that it needs. So, yeah, the liver is so important. So when
Absolutely, 100%.
Yes.
It's actually one of the pillars of my 3 pillars of a healthy nutrition. One is protecting your liver. That's one of them.
Okay, so let's get to the fun part. Tell me a story about an important transformational moment in your life or health journey. What, can be anything you want. What happened as a result of your decision to pivot?
Yeah, I love this question, Connie. Well, I'm gonna start saying that there was a time in my life, and perhaps your audience is not gonna resonate much with this at this point. Maybe they will, but hang in there with me. There was a time in my life when I was constantly asked, "Are you pregnant?
Oh
Are you
my.
pregnant? Liz, are you pregnant?" So that was wrong on so many levels. It made me feel bad in so many levels. One of the ways it made me feel bad was because I wish I could have answered, yes, isn't that awesome? But I
Lots of
couldn't.
sympathy, a lot of sympathy if you've got cancer, but if you have digestive issues, oh, how boring.
Yes. So I couldn't answer that. And the reality was that I was 15 pounds overweight. I was bloated all the time. So all of the clothes I was wearing, I was literally looking like I was a 4 months pregnant woman. And I was feeling exhausted all the time. Like I was feeling like crap. And everybody could notice that. And that was part of the problem. But the worst part was not even that. The worst part was that I truly wanted to give my son a sibling. You know, we moved away from our home countries, my husband and I, with my son when he was 4 years old, and we were away from our own families. I really wanted to have a larger family on my own in this new country that we were living in. And but my body was fighting me. My body was like screaming at me in so many different ways because I was I was putting off my own health. I was putting my own health in the back burner, and I did that for so long, and we as women, we tend to do that, right? We tend to take care of everybody and everything. I wanted to have, like, to rebuild my career. I am an engineer by training, so I wanted to rebuild my successful career in this new country, and at the same time have a healthy, happy family at home. And it's not easy to do, right? And so my plate was not full. I was, things were just falling off the plate already. And the story that I made in my mind is, there's no way I can make time and a space for, for cooking healthy meals for myself and for my family, for taking care of myself, for exercising more, for taking time off for myself and really bring my stress down. Like, that was like an impossible task for me. And so one of the questions I want to ask anyone watching is, have you ever put your health and your well-being in the back burner for way too long? Have you ever ignored or numbed the signs and symptoms that your body has been probably screaming at you? And you have been doing that because it's not yet an emergency. It's not like you're gonna die for it. And actually we tend to be very good at numbing those signs and symptoms, right? And we use medications, we use social media, we use food, we use some of us use alcohol. Like, there's so many ways.
There are different kinds of addictions.
Right. Well, it's not necessarily addiction, but it's more like ways of checking out from our own reality, at least for few minutes, right? Or for hours at the time, and forget about the pain that is not an emergency yet. Well, for me, putting those band-aids and ignoring that pain, those signs and symptoms that my body was sending me, was like screaming at me, meant that I ended up with ovaries aging at a faster rate that they have should. So I was diagnosed with unexplained infertility at the age of 34. And I could not understand that. I didn't see that coming, you know? And it's like, have you ever seen or heard about someone getting really sick and thinking for yourself, like inside yourself, oh gosh, like I feel bad for that person, but I don't think that that will ever happen to me. Like we tend to think that those things are not going to happen to us.
Everybody else.
Exactly, everybody else, but not us, right? I was one of those persons. And so the big transformation for me came when I realized, oh my gosh, when I started questioning, you know, I stepped out from the position, the victim position, the why me, the why is this happening to me, and blah, 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 you know, all of those stories. And I stepped into questioning, okay, well, if I'm being diagnosed this today, what is going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What is going to be the next diagnosis? What else is happening inside my body silently that I am not seeing, I'm not paying attention to? You know what I mean? Because I am keeping my health and my well-being in the back burner. And when I looked around, when I stopped and really looked around, I saw my son who had this rash on his arms, like all of his arms and his his shoulders and upper back. He had this rash, and every time I would take him to the doctor's check, the doctor would say, "That's normal. All the kids have it. Don't worry about it." Well, I wasn't so. Yeah,
It's
I wasn't so convinced.
clever.
I wasn't so convinced, but you know what? What else was I doing? So I started questioning that. I started thinking about, well, my husband, he's also struggling with high cholesterol. His markers of his liver functioning were, you know, not all that great. So I was like, wow, like I really, like we are all in the same boat, you know, and we really have to do something about this. And that's when I decided, and I talked about this, by the way, today in one of my videos, you know, that's when I draw the line on the sand saying, enough is enough. No more takeouts, no more, you know, no more like frozen pizza, no more like frozen food that I could just put in the microwave and wait to go have a perfect meal in minutes on the table. No more shortcuts. I'm gonna go. And I had no idea on how I was gonna do that. I had no clue. But when I made that decision of changing, then I found the guidance. I found a way of making it work on my already crazy busy schedule. I created the time. I became more efficient and found processes and systems to start making things faster in the kitchen. You know, it's like all came back to making a decision. And that is like one of the biggest things I tell all of my audience, my clients, all of those people who are struggling with diets and they go on a diet and then they break the diet and gain all the weight, or cannot really sustain a healthy habit. The problem there is they have not made the decision of make it non-negotiable, of making it a must instead of a should. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also
And
their belief system, because if they don't believe it's possible, then they can't make that decision. So they have to see
well,
it as possible. And somebody like
exactly.
you has know how has done it. That should be a clear indicator.
Yes. That is my mission now, like to show what is possible, that is absolutely possible to do it. without burning out, without feeling, stressed around food. Actually, it's so good to feel food freedom, freedom around the food that we eat, and to be confident that what you're putting in your body and what your family is eating is good for them. That
Yeah.
feeling, like my son loves the green smoothies. Like he's the one, sometimes I feel like I'm lazy. Oh, I'm gonna skip it today. I'm not gonna make the smoothie today. And he's like, Mom, where's the smoothie? Where's the smoothie? He's 20 years old.
You did a great job in and
So
and
yeah,
teaching him smoothies that he loves. That's beautiful.
yes. So it's absolutely possible. And I feel like there's so much unnecessary pain that a lot of us are going through that could be prevented. Of course, sometimes the pain is what is part of the transformation.
Pain is what drives people to make a change.
Yes, but still, it's easier to learn from other people than to go through all of the pain ourselves, right? That's why coaches exist. That's why books exist, right? So that's my mission, and that's my transformational story. And what I'm living today. Well, I live in a body that at my 46 years old, I feel better than ever. Like I feel better than when I was in my 30s. My energy is like all over the roof. I'm super active, and I enjoy seeing my family. Like that rush my son had on his arms, it went away. My bloating went away, my acne went away. I wasn't even trying to do that. I spent so much money trying to get my skin back and get my digestion fixed. And when I changed what I was putting in my mouth, all of those things slowly went away. My husband forever forgot about cholesterol issues. His liver markers are like great. And so I am like a living proof of the power, the healing power of the right foods. And so that's why I'm passionate about this.
Wonderful. Yes, I am passionate about it too because I kind of learned what's really going on in the world early on in this worldwide emergency. So I haven't had to struggle. I mean, I watch friends and people that I know get very sick, and I know why. But I'm older than you, and my asthma, I've learned to conquer most of my food sensitivities, and it's because of focusing on cleansing the liver, and the lungs and the liver are highly connected, and that doesn't make sense to a lot of people. But when you cleanse, I mean, the breathing problems I had are just like that, and I haven't gotten sick. I mean, I haven't gotten sick in probably 2 years at least, or more. I've lost track of time, but it's really, it's worth it. It does work. I didn't go through Liz. I have my own process, but it doesn't matter if you're eating real food, and in the right balance, it can happen.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah. And the last question is, how can people connect with you, and how can they find you? And we're going to put it in the Facebook group because I don't have a way to do that here on Zoom, but we're gonna put it in the Facebook group after we're done here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, people can follow me or can join my free private Facebook group, the Conscious Eating Tribe. So the name is very similar to your Facebook group, instead of conscious. So it's conscious eating tribe for women over 40. So they can join there. Yeah, you're gonna put the link. I'm gonna send you the link to that. And they can also, if you're resonating with anything that I'm saying, if you're struggling right now with a health issue and you would like some guidance, or just explore the possibility of receiving some guidance from someone who knows what the latest scientific research has shown, which not a lot of doctors know, unfortunately, like we discussed, and how to start, creating like the right combination of foods, like you said, the balance, Connie, and how to incorporate that in your life in a way that is sustainable.
That's
Then yes, and enjoyable. So if you're open to that, then I offer free sessions, free health and body transformation sessions, and I'm gonna provide you the link to so that anybody can book that, and we can talk about what's your main struggle. Try my best to give you like at least one step, one simple actionable step that you can take in order to start moving forward. And I can tell you about how it could look like to get support from me.
That's awesome. Yes, I'm doing all of these transformational interviews with the purpose of showing that women, in your case it's over 40, in my case it's over 50, but transformation can happen at any age. It's not about the number. So
Yes.
I'm going to be opening up a seminar, 3 keys to recharge your energy after 50. And it will be similar to what Liz does, but it's different because it's focusing on a different aspect of energy. It's combination of strategies that you can walk away from that webinar and you'll already feel better. And then so that's on November the 29th that I'm leading up to. Like, I'm hoping people are seeing these videos and liking them. And I'm hoping you can check out some of the videos that I've already posted in the group, and I'll be sharing them in other places as well, because it's people don't realize that this is all possible. It's all I'm going to help. Yeah, well, we'll get into the whole theme of the webinar later, but just keep in mind, if you're struggling with energy issues, come and learn some new ideas from participating in my webinar. It's an hour and a half, so it's going to be like, we're going to go into some real strategies that you can use right there on the spot. And my goal is to make it easy and stress-free for women over 50. So again, thank you, Liz, for a wonderful interview. And I hope that people will be inspired by how you've transformed, and just the idea that anybody can transform no matter their age. It's not a I can't, it's I can, and how, and when.
Yes.
Am I going to get started? So yeah.
Yes, it's making a matter of realizing it's possible and then making the decision. So, and I'm going to be in your webinar, Connie. I'm so looking forward to it, because I know the energy standpoint from the nutrition side, but I want to learn, the other things that you are so wise and you will be sharing on that webinar. So I'll be there.
Awesome. I'm excited too. So we're going to wind this up.